it's Lauren
and Kinley
from My Fun Hug, and today
we're installing our native shit.
bloopers. Hi guys, it's Lauren
And Kinley
from My Fun Hug,
and today we're installing our steering upgrades on our native kayaks. What we've got is the native Spring Blade for both her Slayer Propel 13 and my SlayerMax 12.5. And the way we ended up getting them for both of them is because I thought I had ordered the one that went for my SlayerMax. Ended up coming in, it was a 3-inch shaft, came off a Titan. So we kept it for hers, and I found another good deal on a SlayerMax version, and his also included the Berley Pro handle upgrade. Really good deal on both of these, both of them from local-ish clubs to North Carolina. I think we paid like 75 or 80 bucks for hers and 125 for mine.
Yeah, I think this was 75.
So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna have Lauren start taking apart the old upgrade and get rid of the Spider 4 because they drive her crazy. So basically what you gotta do is you gotta take the old one off because you have to, it comes in the box, or ours, one of mine did, one didn't, broken down. And you have to get rid of all this because you have to use the new top plate, the new nut, and the nuts in this bag. The nut has a hole in it that allows the cable to go through. So you can't use the old one, anything, screw, top plate, or anything. So this brand new Berley Pro unit, we'll probably keep on the shelf for a while in case we want to revert back. If not, I might sell it as it is because by itself, I think it's an upgrade over even the Slayer 12, being that the disc is a little bit wider, which means more torque.
If it's on the piece, take it off, put it back in there.
All right, so the new ones come with extra steering cables, which is awesome, and enough for the rudder. Now, since these are used, that was already cut, and I didn't think it was long enough looking at it, so we're going to take the steering cable, which is the same material, and run it instead. So you got to make sure that spring is in place. That's what does, you set the tension manually on it.
Okay.
But the first thing you have to do is you have to run the cable through the new rudder shaft. And what that does is it allows you to go around this, essentially a pulley system, which allows you to lift the rudder up and down. And you want to do that first, and then as you go through, after you install this part, you can run it up and out. If you do any of this out of order, you're going to be taking it all apart and doing it again. So this just slots right inside of there. And then it has, this one has a retaining pin with it, a collar pin. Mine does not. Mine's a little different, and it just kind of uses a spring, well, a clip, which we may or may not end up liking, especially if it falls off. So you want it to go in like this, and then it kind of half clips in, and then you'll set the tension. But the first thing we have to do is go through this hole in the top of the rudder,
Out this side,
and tie a couple of knots in it to hold it in place so it doesn't pull out.
so you're going to tie two. You're going to do one near the very end first, and then you're going to do another one right below that. Make sure it's super tight. And then you are going to pull it through, which he's going to do right now. And you're going to get it in that hole, and it's not going to come out the other side because it's still much smaller holes, and it's going to be super secure.
So the next step is
To get
Lauren's going to hold that underneath while I take the cable and run it up through the gasket, which we left in place. Because if you forget that, you're not going to have a gasket.
Yeah, make sure that gasket's in place. Okay, so now we're going to pull up.
And once we go up through there, she is going to install
Make sure that gasket goes down on there. Yep.
the rudder kind of in place and hold it while I get, it's much easier with two people, while I get the cable through the disc.
And it doesn't necessarily matter right now if this is straight or not, so you don't have to worry about that right now. That's right?
That's right.
Okay. Yay! You teach me a lot. Oh wait, hold on, baby, you didn't tighten this down.
We can do that from underneath.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can do that from
So you can
underneath.
do it either way, that's nice.
Yeah. Her steering cable back through the hole.
Do that, yeah.
So you got to get the steering cable on the disc and kind of hold it a little tension so it don't pop off.
Okay.
And then try to get everything all lined up again. It comes from the factory with a form of thread locker. It's red in color. I don't know if it's the equivalent of red Loctite, but red Loctite is terrible to use on something that you can't put a torch on. So we're going to use blue instead, 243, which is going to help keep this from vibrating out once we set it in place. So if you want to hold that up one more time while I throw some Loctite on this.
Interesting. And that's thread locker blue.
You'd have to really be not paying attention, I think, to lose one of these. But so I'm just going to put a dab.
Ooh.
So it literally just takes a tiny bit
like
to do the job.
That's literally like just a tiny bit. So, but it'll still be able to come out though if we need to get it out. Like,
oh yeah. So blue will come out. Blue is
done now?
So you can remove it, and red is if you don't ever want to.
I gotcha.
So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that the tension of this is good. So once we've got this nut set where we want it and the tension, I just like to spin the disc, see if it's about where I want it, because until we tighten that down, there's multiple ways to tighten up the tension, and one of them is through the steering cables, pulls on it real hard. If they're too tight, it's hard to turn, and the other is through this nut. If it's too tight, it is hard to turn as well.
So that's perfect. We're going to leave it like that.
All right, so I ended up putting a little more thread locker on. I don't think it was enough because I had to loosen it up so much I feel like it pulled it off of there. So that'll set up, and once that gets hard, it won't want to come out, even though it's finger tight at this point. That's where she wants the tension. That's where we're going to leave it. So now to do the spring blade tension, we'll show you on the other one. It has a spring in here, hence the name Spring Blade, that does the deployment. And the way that you do that is with a 5/16 or an 8mm Allen key. They're both essentially the same. And you put it in, turn it a quarter of a turn, and then you pop it in place.
Then you push.
And that's going to set the tension. Now
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it on mine yet.
So we're going to get down here and do it on this one. Cool.
So it's popped in place, the cotter pin is in place as well. And so we pull up on it, and the rudder comes up, and we let go of it, and the rudder goes down. We believe we're going to install the cleat on her seat track so it's not in the way of a rod holder, because she uses that forward facing rod holder.
And I have plenty of room in my seat track because I sit with my seat all the way up. All the way, like you can't go any further. I sit with my seat all the way up because my feet or my legs are very short. So I have plenty of room on my seat track for it, and it's not going to affect me and moving my seat at all. So
I believe we're going to run it through this right here for now. We've got a little Yak Attack eye up front on the track. I think we're going to run it through this part right here where the cable is, or the bungee is, and see how that goes. If it's not smooth enough, we may install another eyelet here, or maybe
that's smooth. I just wonder if it's gonna rub it too much.
It may. We may put honestly, one of those flat style pulleys would be great. The Yak Attack, like the anchor trolley pulleys, would be awesome for this. I may end up installing something like that. So once we've got these cords on the screws and tightened up after we set the rudder, I like to take and just tie just a square knot here on the cables, just so that if they were to slip loose, it would pull either side and it wouldn't be able to come out, because on a square knot, it don't matter which side you pull, it tightens up.
And then, so what you have to do after that, so the most important part, and you cannot forget this part because you're definitely not going to catch any fish if you forget this part. And it is the most beautiful part of the kayak, so they definitely come for it. Okay. Alrighty.
You have to tie your bow.
There you go. You gotta get there you go. And it's perfect.
Nice tie, not in the way, and pretty. Oh, these don't work well on native tracks. The bits don't fit. So I have these impact bits for my impact drill, and I just put them in my driver instead. These screws haven't moved in forever.
So you're gonna put the screw from this through there?
Yeah, so basically the plate have to go in there, just that spark.
Why did it do that?
It was just metal slipping.
I saw it out of the corner of my eye barely.
Sometimes they spark. So basically, I have to take the track up loose just enough to put her cleat in there, which...
My cleats? I don't know. People ask me the question, what's your favorite time of year? I don't really have, like, I can't say one. I love fall, I love spring.
Spring and fall have allergies. Summer has bugs, ticky poison.
There's something.
Alright, so I'm gonna help this fine thing up here.
I'm gonna go.
You gonna climb up that way? Okay. This fine thing's gonna help herself
I
up
can
there.
step on all these, right?
You can step on all of them.
Just as long as all these are sturdy.
If they fail, it just means the kayaks fall off.
I did it! Hooray!
Alright, so the rudder is in the deployed position now, and then, see if you can pull that thing up.
And with this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, pull forward. Oh, God.
And that is in the
Oh,
up.
I can pull it.
That's in the up position right there.
That's fine.
And to keep it in the up position, you have to pull forward and lock it down in that cleat, and then it'll hold.
Oh.
So that would be in the up position, that's stowed away to keep it from getting broke off, and then to deploy it, you just pop it out, let it drop down.
Nice.
So
I can't wait to try this out. Like, I can't wait to use this.
there's the cleat in the seat track. Cable goes just inside, and then we've got the cable run through this Yak Attack eye, so it'll be out of the way of the crate. You can still utilize the bungee system, and we're using this part of the bungee system to run the eye through and then through the bolt. We will give that a try, see how it goes. All right, so since we just saw the Spring Blade install, it's pretty much going to be the same on the Slayer. Mine's going to be slightly different. We're going to focus on the Berley Pro handle upgrade. First thing I got to do is introduce my daughter here because she just can't help herself. Say hey to Layla Grace.
Hi.
She's going to stand out here and I guess help us a little bit. Layla, do you see that little screwdriver right there?
Yeah.
You hand that to me?
Sure.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Now, I'm hoping that this upgraded handle, which we'll eventually get for hers too, It just so happened to come with this combo. Well, it's going to take care of this. And this floppiness that you hear and see is because of how loose I have to have this in order to make it turn, because as the kayak stretches and those cables get tighter, it pulls on this and then this becomes tight. But then when it cools off, it becomes loose again. And there is no real fix for that because you have to have it loose.
So I personally like how big this is because I feel like it's like a lot easier to maneuver. You have a little bit more something to grab, you know? I can't wait to get this, honestly.
Yeah, hers is really tight. These are a little better, but the biggest thing is I actually use these horizontal rod holders, especially at places like Santee Cooper, where I'm getting in the cypress trees. I take like 3 rods, maybe 4, and I will actually lay down 2 rods on each side, or I'll put 2 on this side, 1 on this side, and then 1 in my Scotty mount facing backwards to get me. When we went back in the spring, I was sick, so I was staying out of the wind. I was in the trees fishing, and it helped a great bit. But you can't steer with the rod here because it hits. So this will get it above and allow my rod to actually sit underneath. I can still steer, so that's going to be awesome. So here's the way that is. It's 1 bushing, the handle, this plate, which is actually got a pretty good groove into it. It eventually failed, and then this bushing. And that bushing was also underneath on mine for some unknown reason. Makes no sense. So we'll keep this as a spare in case something happens, but it's more inclined to believe that this would fail before this ever would. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
And this is, they came with their own screw, which in this case takes an Allen key. We'll take their screw and washer out, and then place this straight ahead. I'm not sure if they have made it the proper length where you could tighten it all the way down, or if you still have to do that slightly loose garbage. But if it were me, I would make it, when I machine it, the correct length to tighten it fully. Or better yet, use what's called a shoulder bolt, so you could tighten it up all the way. You don't have to worry about the bolt falling out, while still allowing you the tension adjustment you need, which would be loose. It would appear that you're allowed to tighten this one all the way, which is awesome. Thank you for making something that makes sense. I'm gonna tell you, a lot of videos I see guys using an impact. Even the native guys are using impacts in their videos, and here's the problem with that. You can't feel the torque you're putting in with an impact. You don't know if it's tight, you don't know if it's loose, you don't know if you're ripping these brass inserts out of the plastic. I mean, let's be honest, this stuff it's not the strongest stuff in the world. So I don't know how far they go into the plastic, how wide they are, or anything like that, but I'm not gonna take any chance with it. Tighten it down snug by hand, be done with it. Don't strip the ends of the screws off. You don't have to worry about, ripping the inserts out, things like that with an impact. Just do it by hand. I mean, a little carpal tunnel will never hurt anybody, right? So I can tell you right now that is absolutely amazing. This versus that is 100% worth the difference, especially when you get it as cheap as I did. So I appreciate that. I'll have to look the guy's name up. I don't remember it. Alex from CKA. Thank you for that great deal, dude. All right, let's watch the struggle. This is the struggle.
Let's fast forward through the struggle. Go see the new handle you put on. You want to get up there and sit in Dad's seat?
You want to get up there and sit in the seat and tell me how it is?
Yeah.
All right, Dad, put her up there.
All right.
Oh, I feel tall.
Twist that handle. Tell me what you think.
I think it's awesome.
Nice.
It works.
A little tight for you, ain't it?
Yeah.
Alrighty. We're going to go on to the Spring Blade next. We're going to go through it pretty quick.
Okay. Here we go. Bye.
Bye.
I will say I'm slightly concerned about the damage from where I had this tight before. It's gonna be in a different spot. It came with extra, that's probably why, to replace it. I would rather have that in the boat ready to go. I could do a field repair, maybe. I mean, I could put braid on it and make it turn if I had to, but and of course it fell off the disc, I think. It did. Fell off the disc. And now my rudder fell down.
Uh-oh. You want me to stop it for a minute?
So now I'm just gonna wrap.
Want me to hold it, baby? I need to put this on that. That's why it takes two people, okay?
I believe we spoke in our last video about anger problems. So this would be one of those situations where if this rudder falls off one more time, I'm gonna be super angry.
No, he's not, because Miss Layla Grace is right here. He's gonna keep us cool.
Yeah, so it's extremely difficult to keep the cables on the disc and hold the disc up.
Do you want Layla to hold it for you down there?
And put the disc in place. Well,
Yeah, I can hold it for you, Dad.
Let's see if he can get it first.
let me try to line this up first. This one is
Gotta hold it
testing
and push
my
up.
patience for sure. So I believe we're good there.
Okay.
Good there. All right, Layla, if you will hold that.
And
please
push
keep
up.
it from, yep, just hold it right there. Thank you, darling.
Hold it tight, okay?
I will.
Good job.
Then I will put my dabble do of blue Loctite. You do not need to coat all the threads with it. Whoops. Well, there I say it. You don't need that much, ladies and gentlemen. You just need a little bit.
Yeah, he doesn't put that much on.
And all right, Layla, thank you. That should hold in place now.
Good job.
So my cables are still in
Good
their
job.
place.
Give me Misty.
So now that I'm not going to absolutely lose my mind if that rudder falls again.
I'm proud of you. Good job. That would have been a
I'm gonna
situation where he would have been really upset.
More gooder.
Good.
It is currently not springing, it is gravitating. So mine doesn't have the pin on it to keep this from popping out. It just has them clips. And while they're fairly difficult, we'll see how it handles the burden of me. It's pretty rough.
What are you doing, baby?
That cord wasn't melted, so it was pulling apart
Oh,
from the previous install.
cool. So are you done?
So that's it with that one. I still need to know where I'm gonna put my cleat. I'm thinking probably gonna go on the left side because I don't want it in the way of anything on my right side. I haven't exactly figured out which way I'm gonna do this. I really do not want to take it in the way of being able to utilize any of my stuff. I almost always have my paddle right here. And that is to, when I get into places where I gotta pull up the drive, I like to have quick access to my paddle. But I think I'm gonna put it right here because I don't utilize this for anything. I don't like that. Probably end up, unfortunately I don't have
Yeah, because I looked at these on mine and I thought maybe it could go through that, and I thought no, because that's like not facing the right way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't have any pad eyes on mine as of right.
Toys we don't need, items we don't need in the garage, in the house, clothing.
Yeah, I just cracked that.
Oh.
So,
no.
Don't over tighten that. It'll crack, apparently. Should be okay. I don't think it's going anywhere, but that, guys, it could have been a little stronger. I don't really tighten things up that tight, so anyway, I imagine through repeated use that could also crack. Probably for the time being, just going to route it through that, which I don't use. Probably.
What is that, a rod holder?
It's for the paddle, but it's straight, but these are angled, and they should have made it angled up, and they didn't.
Oh, this is for the paddles?
Yeah, it's kind of junk. I thought about taking them off and installing them on your kayak, because I think you can make better use of those than I could. So for right now, I am going to do the same thing over here. Thank you for watching us install the upgrades to our kayaks.
Look forward to catching us out on the lake in our next video. Bye, guys.
Bye.